like to end by also adding a point on oil extraction. I know oil has been missing from the conversation today, but in January this year, we had reports of potential crude oil in Wembley. This is building upon statements by the late President Lebanon Nawasa, who said it might have oil deposits. Currently, the legislation that looks at oil taxation also does not guarantee us benefits if we were to start extracting oil. What it has in place, though, the expenditure part, is an oil trust fund, something that we do not have for mining and probably to consider for mining. But I should mention that the oil trust fund as well is not well defined in terms of where to collect that revenue, though it does mention that this revenue would be able to address the concerns more where Madam Muke had mentioned that communities are not being able to benefit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mutwaba, for that explanation. I think this is very important for all of us to understand. He has touched on a number of issues, and you have answered most of the questions that I needed to pose to you. So now this goes to these two questions. This one question I'm going to pose to Muke and Reverend Victoria. Considering the fact that Zambia is blessed with different natural resources, in this case minerals, coal, minerals, manganese, cobalt, and now we do have gold deposits. My question is, what measures do you think should the country put in place in order to maximize tax collection from the mines, but without negatively hindering the growth of the industry and the welfare of the community? We can start with Reverend Chikoyo.
The mechanism that should be put in place, that we must have a consistent, predictable. I'm not an expert in tax, and I will, of course, take note of what he has put across. But speaking from a layman's perspective, one, need to have a system that is consistent, that is predictable, and a transparent and competitive kind of tax regime with other countries. If other countries are able to get maximum benefits, what is so special about Zambia that we are failing to make sure that we put the right mechanisms of getting the right taxes so that whether there are fluctuations upwards or downwards, I don't know why in Zambia it is always much easier to respond, especially from the government and other regulators, when it is in their favor. But when it is in the favor of the community or the people, they always talk about also and other things and all kinds of gymnastics. And so, speaking as a clergyman, speaking on behalf of the people of Zambia, what ideally we need is just mineral tax systems that are easy to understand, easy to implement. We must not give too much, and we must make sure that we are able to get every lacuna, every gray area should be dealt with. We should not be people that are always reacting. If there is a fluctuation, we make another policy change or whatever it is. We must comprehensively analyze and research so that we are able to get the best for this country and for the good of those or the least of these in the community out there. Thank you.
Yeah, I think for me, just like what I already alluded to, the mineral sharing mechanism is the only tax that I feel that it should be retained because it was only removed in 2015. So, if we had mineral revenue sharing mechanism, for me the way I do it is because part of the money from the home, there must be a certain percentage, whether 2, 5, it goes to the local government. Before it goes to the treasury or wherever it goes, then that money, the local government, together with the white government committees and the group of committees in it, they can sit, say, okay, this money can be used like this. Because the way it is now, from the hall, it will fly. It will come to the treasury. Then the government will decide where to take the profit. Leaving out those people in total poverty. Remember that before the mining come, these people were depending on the land, agriculture, their livestock, grazing, and all that. But immediately when the mines come, these people will be distressed, but also the environment is not going to be conducive to the agriculture that those people are doing. As a result, those people will be perpetual poverty. So mineral nutrient mechanism, we cannot just bring it like that. It has to be taken to the country. What council should take care of that. And if we did that, like in our project, the same we're doing, we've already started, sensitizing people about this. We brought the council, we have the group which we call natural resource watch groups, just trying to help them understand. These natural resource watch groups, they go to the mining company, how much you think of it? Then they will follow it up to the tax. The miners for that they give us 2% of the total taxation that they want to give. So where is this money? And what the government committees are supposed to submit the projects that the people want to see in their area. By doing this, you will see that even people will stop blaming the government. Because already certain budget that the whole government is supposed to take to the people, it will address the mineral beneficiary, which was there before. It was only removed in the Act. So that's the only way I feel things improve. At the moment, the government is overwhelmed with the projects. That's why you hear asking those Western projects, we are hosting these mines, there's nothing. People want to turn against the government. I think it's the system that we need to put in place. Because that money that will come to the treasury is supposed to be distributed equitably to others. But people are those who are directly affected from detention, deforestation, pollution, and what that money can also address those people.
Thank you so much, Mom. I have a last question, and this goes straight to Mtwalo, and then we open for the plenary session. In the context of taxation and mining in Zambia, the central government, through the Ministry of Finance, plays a very significant role in collecting tax revenues and spending. My question is, what do you think are the challenges, the gaps, and the opportunities in this regard? In less than 1 minute.
In less than a minute, for you to optimize revenue, you need to have the necessary tools to do so. Without a tax instrument that's leading to excess profits, we should forget about optimizing revenue. Excess profits leads to a windfall tax, a variable income tax. And I should mention that when we had a variable income tax, which is a form of resource rent tax or excess profit tax, we collected zero tax, which brings me to the problem that we have. The problem that we have probably is a weak enforcement of the existing law and some of the gaps that are there and disparities in international tax rules that allow mining companies to form of manipulate their costs in terms of paying more in terms of management fees, in terms of paying more interest fees on debt, and in terms of paying for other services so that these are recorded as companies that are not making stable and enough profits. Evidence of these occurrences are there in the Finance Intelligence Center report of 2015, and then there's a Finance Intelligence report of 2019, and so many other reports that show that some of these incidences are why, as a country, we've been frustrated in terms of collecting excess profit tax, in terms of optimizing revenue from the mining sector, and we decided to put pressure in terms of changes for royalty collection, which essentially in the end will limit government's ability to allocate part of the royalties to expenditure like manner and mentioned. So first of all, have the right tax instruments, deal with the legislative loopholes which allow companies to externalize their profits, then when you have the right tax instruments and able to collect the right tax, then you can look at decentralizing how you're going to use or make use of that tax and release taxes that are meant for compensation of loss of livelihoods, loss of compensating for the loss of livelihoods. Because currently, the Environmental Protection Fund that exists for environmental remedies does not take into account aspects of loss of livelihood. So once a mine is shut or the mine, you can use that insurance deposit to rehabilitate the environment if the mine doesn't do it. But what money, what resources are there to deal with the loss of livelihoods, to do with people who were farmers and can no longer farm because their land was taken away? Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mutwalo. I will now open for the plenary. We are going to take 4 questions, 2 from the Royal Highnesses and then 2 from the civil society. Please, I request that you are brief in your questions so that we leave room for the other sessions that we are about to have. Should Kwanda?
My question is, I would like to know what was wrong on the sales tax. Because during the period of the former finance minister, Honorable Margaret Makafu, at one point they introduced, the government introduced the sales tax. But later, which was actually discussed, even the ZRA will come. But later, the coming of Dr. Valena as the finance minister, they replaced the sales tax to value-added tax. What was wrong with the sales tax? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Can we get another question? Your hand is kind of going.
Thank you very much. I want the panel to come out clearly on our stand as traditional rulers. We feel that we are rulers in our own right, and that we deserve to be given the opportunity to perform in true custodians of our people and their natural resources. We refuse to be relegated to ceremonial monuments. We want to be recognized as leaders. How can that be done? Decentralization, this devotion, shedding off some powers from the central government should not just go to the council. Let it go to the traditional rulers as well. That's one area. The second one is on the revenue sharing. We want you to come out clearly on this one also. We feel that this social corporate responsibility is not enough compensation for people losing their inheritance that should have looked after the people from generations to generations, as had been the case. And we feel therefore that we should become shareholders in these companies that we come to invest on our land. Lastly, even on the issues of tax, there must be a mechanism. I'm glad to hear that there was that before. That wherever there is a mine or any economic undertaking, any a chief's jurisdiction, that chief must have a share on behalf of the people in the revenue that is collected. I want the panel to react to this one.
Thank you, your hand is up. I need to get 2 questions from the city. Yes, Madam Ashava, kindly go ahead.
Good afternoon, Your Royal Princess, for bringing forward very, very clear submission. And perhaps I will build on my question to what the Luna that's raised, Royal Highness from the BRI. I think one of the biggest challenges we have as a country, and maybe that also translates at a shift of level, is that we lack the information on the stocks of natural resources we have, whether it's forests, whether it's minerals, whether it's fisheries. We also lack information on maybe the values or potential profits that can be generated, right? So that as tax revenues are calculated, you have a base under which what you are being told is sort of the base of the taxes that have been raised. There's also a proper level of information in terms of the opportunity costs. That the opportunity costs in terms of lost inheritance, generation, lost other alternative livelihoods, so that decisions are better informed, both at the national level and also at the level of the traditional. So I think my question is, are there best practices from around the world that we can look to that will put the country and our traditional leaders in a stronger position when negotiating, and not only just looking at corporate social responsibility, that is not enough, not really just looking at how much of the road is coming, having an understanding of the full cake. Okay? I was in a meeting 2 weeks ago with one of the PSS, that's to give this some hope. They were negotiating a program with an investor, and they were refusing to sign an agreement because they were saying no. They need this kind of information so that when they go and sit at the table, they know exactly. They do not want to sell or to agree to undercut the country. So we have some good people within government that are asking this question, but I think we need to bring it down to the local level. One way or the other, the chiefs have to find a way of putting together this information. So through the support of the World Bank, the government have tried to generate this information for water, forests, and land at the national level. But that picture did not give us in detail, district by district or chiefdom by chiefdom. And I think if we go in that direction in the future, we might be able to get some kind of win-win situation. So I guess my question is, where are the best practices around the world that we can look to adjust the developmental agreements that take into account economic benefits, but also the environmental issues?
Thank you so much. I need a second reaction. I need a question from the civil society. Yes, David, go ahead.
Thank you very much, moderator. My question is one to the colleague who spoke very well on that question. And I want to find out, do we have the wrong tax system in this country? And if we have, what tax system do you think you can recommend for the government to adopt? And a comment on the Royal Highnesses. Basically, my organization has just taken note of various issues which you have raised. And I'm hoping that through the conveners of this meeting, that the communique which they are going to come up with will address the issue of restructuring. The government right now is restructuring the National Development Plan, and they are looking into the 8th National Development Plan. And I'm hoping that through that, process, the issues which have been brought about from the chiefs or their royal highnesses can be taken into consideration. I don't think that one of the 7th National Development Plan really takes into account, but at what level the chiefs play an important role in economic diversification. So looking at the international development plan, I'm hoping that on the various platforms in the interactions with central government, we wish to raise those issues directly with the government itself.
Thank you, Mr. Mbola. Looking at the questions that have come up from the plenary, I will give the question from Madam Chilaga and David to Twalo, and then the two questions from the Royal Highnesses, I will give them to, they will be distributed between Reverend Chiboya and Madam Moke. Kindly go ahead and respond.
The last question was asking if we have the right or wrong tax system in Zambia and what would best suit our citizens can be able to benefit from natural resources. From that very perspective, it tells us that our tax system is lacking in certain instruments that have to do with the collection of, in an event of an excess profit tax. Reverend Chiboya had mentioned some of these elements in terms of them being predictable, them being able to give us enough revenue when metal prices are high, and so on and so forth. That in the technical sense speaks to the aspect of progressivity of taxation. Progressivity of taxation is guaranteed in the form of the tax instruments that you have that look at profits. But like I made mention, collecting profit taxes from a tax administration point of view is considered a little bit problematic because it has to do with calculating the actual cost of the mines. So hence, my submission is the tax system that we have is lacking some instruments that would need to be there for us to collect excess profit taxes. And even with those put in place, we need to bear in mind that we need to ensure we have the right administrative capacity to regularly audit the production of minerals that we have in the country. We need to have the administrative capacity to look through the costs that are submitted by the mines for the production of these very resources, and to go further and to look at the dealings or the things that are traded amongst these companies and their sister companies. The finance intelligence report, which I had referred to, lists so many instances of inflating costs of imports in the mining process by companies trading with their sister companies from different tax jurisdictions. In one instance, a company which was mentioned as Company X had paid 7 million kwacha to its sister company in a lower tax jurisdiction to do works which were later brought back into Zambia, and the local company was going to do the same works for 100,000 kwacha. So you can already look at 6,900,000 externalized, which was potentially going to form part of the profits and was supposed to have tax savings. So let's have the right instruments in place, excess profit tax, then let's have the right administrative capacity to monitor this. There was a question around where are the best practices. Again, there's no one shoe that fits all for all countries in the world. It has to do more with your looming government objective, what your government wants to achieve. And like I did mention, ours was to look at optimization. So we want to look at our West African colleagues in Ghana, who ensure that when gold prices are high, not only do they collect also royalties from gold, but are able to tap into the profits that they make and the excess profits which go beyond the minimum return to capital. Minimum return is more like what I want to get from investing in business. Once I get what I want to get, that excess revenue should then go to government. And to do that, of course, we need the right administrative capacity. There are so many tax reforms that are going on currently in African countries, so many efforts to physically audit the production of minerals, to physically audit submissions in terms of the value of the sales. And this is what we need to tackle. Our neighboring country, Botswana's looming objective wants to do with state participation, sharing the production that's there, and this has always been one of the best practices that we have in the region. We have something that we need to consider for petroleum legislation, which we are not talking about now, but if we discover oil in Zambia, will be problematic because of the terms that are listed. We do not have any production sharing agreement that will be negotiated. Thanks.
Thank you, Father. Thank you.
I've also been mandated to take one on the sales tax. So for the sales tax, I think essentially a short answer to that is because of its potential cascading effects, and potentially it was going to lead to so many job losses from intermediaries and also increase the prices of base commodities for us, the final consumers, in the sense that it would have been lots of people along the value chain paying an amount of tax, and the ultimate effect was going to be felt by us consumers. The motivation for the sales tax was, of course, the value-added tax refunds that have been a huge burden for the country, of course, but also this has to speak to administrative capacity to physically audit and see if these refunds that were supposed to pay at the right amount. Things.
The CSD, that is corporate social responsibility. I agree with you, the Royal Highness. Corporate social responsibility cannot develop our country. The reason? Simple. There is no law. Two, they will do it at their own will. Most of these companies, what they say is, for us, in our company, we are budgeting to help you with education. Does the community need that? The others will say, okay, us will help you with this. Does the community need that? I remember meeting one of my colleagues, John. He's a Briton. We started talking about the mining system in Zambia. And he told me, Madam K, most of the people who meet this meeting, they are not the owners of mining. Sometimes even your company does not even reach the owner. Because us who have mining, we have our own boards. So most of the time we talk to the employees and they want to protect their job. They want to maximize the profit so that the owner of the company says yes, they are working well. So, corporate social responsibility, we cannot rely on it to say it will develop this country. That's why earlier on I said, mineral revenue sharing mechanism. It was there. It's easy for us when we put in the necessary documents so that now we can, utilize it properly. It was already there. We can do it. Just as I've already alluded to. Look at this money. Look at how. If there was mineral revenue sharing mechanism, recently, Kawe had very bad figures. Everyone was trying to government. Everyone goes, but you ask the question, where are the people who are mining lead? Where are they? So these are some of the things that we are talking about. And Your Royal Highness says, my fellow Zambians, these minerals, these natural resources, when they are depleted, that's when we're going to see calamity. Even the natural resources that since they are renewable, when we push it, we deplete it to that level, they'll never be renewable. So we must be careful. We make sure that what comes from there will build our country. Norway is one of the countries that is doing well. Norway is one of the richest countries because of their oil. So they will trust the money to provide. So talking from the community sometimes it's very
Thank you very much, the Royal Highnesses and the other members. A firm believer, as a citizen, we are involved in natural resource governance and justice, involved in northwestern, southern, and I've always said we are tired and fed up of corporate social responsibility crimes. it is high time, affirming what was said I'm not saying that it shouldn't be there, but I'm saying it should not be hoodwinked or tranquilized by that trap of corporate social responsibility, because it is not going to develop our country and our communities. And so the traditional leadership, the people of Zambia, the communities need to move from writing a few letters. We need you to paint our school, we need you to grade our roads. They need to move from there into the boardroom as shareholders. So I affirm that kind of position. We must move from the begging kind of situation into the boardroom where we can speak and be heard. And the other point I want to make is, it is unfortunate that government, which has a responsibility to provide development for all sectors, all parts of the country. Sometimes we blame these other investors. We must put the government on the spot. They have a responsibility to ensure that every part of the country is developed and every community is capacitated to engage with any other external person. Imagine a father who allows their daughter, because they are of age, to negotiate their role on their own. Would that make sense? Because the daughter is of age, you let her to negotiate, plan for the wedding and everything. So when we leave communities to negotiate with high-powered delegations of corporate entities, with expert universities and all these other places, and you make them interact, even when you talk of the environmental impact assessment, these people have got sharp brains. Everything is well calculated, they know. And then you expect a fair match. It's like an elephant versus a rat. And so government must protect its people and its communities and the chieftains by capacitating them, by ensuring that they're well informed so that they make well-informed decisions and consent. They must not come back later and say, what happened? They know from the onset what is going on. It is unfortunate that other people, someone talked about us knowing the stocks of natural resources. Other people know where they will pretend to be exploring. They know where the resources are, but we don't. It is high time that local initiatives are done in every chiefdom. Let's take stock of who is who are there in terms of expertise. We have enough people from every chiefdom. We talk of accountants and whatever field. How can these be brought into our systems to help the Royal Highnesses to be better placed, to be better informed as they engage with other people, government included? Because you need somebody that is passionate, some loyal to the chiefdom. And so we will never get anywhere as long as we keep on thinking somebody to do it for us. It is time to begin to demand what rightfully belongs to us. We should not be, pleading, Zambia belongs to us, and you, our traditional leaders, are custodians of these resources. Yes, respect those to whom authorities given. In church circles we say, give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. But after you've given him, bring Caesar and your gifts to God, because they all belong to God. And so we must demand. If we keep on pleading and pleading, we'll plead until we can't plead anymore. That is why our desire is to see a well-informed citizenry, a citizenry that is able to demand accountability, to demand, not to request, to demand for a stake in this cake of natural resources in Zambia. We have the power, we must utilize it, and we must work as a united kind of entities. The challenges that make us lose out is that even within the chiefdoms at times, there are different camps. These will make another arrangement and another arrangement. We need to begin to realize and see the bigger picture. Those children that are there today and those that are yet to be born, we have a responsibility to pass on, not a liability but an asset to future generations. Allow me to conclude. I know that she has been copying. Conclude with this one. We need to be like men and women of Issachar who understand our times and what needs to be done. And we need to ask 4 critical questions. What is going on? Why is it going on? And what ought to be going on? And what is my place? Yes, we can talk about Boma and Ganepa and all those things. Boma is not there when the dust is affecting us in our regions, when all those effects of climate change, maybe by mining or any other activity, it is us who feel the pinch. The 4th question is, what is my place? What is my role in making a difference? I know together we can and together we must. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a very insightful discussion. You can take your seats. We are now getting into another session. However, how we want this session to be done is that because for the community water rights, and then you're supposed to have also a last panel, which is the youth role in natural resource protection. So since we have 2 panelists for the community water rights, I don't think that will be good. I wanted them to combine with the youth panel. The questions for the youth panel on natural resource on there will be directed to them, and then also that for the community water rights, so that we could manage time. I don't know what others think. We could proceed like that, because our lunch today is at 13:30, so we're trying to utilize the time that we're remaining with. Immediately after lunchtime, before we go into the breakaway sessions, we are going to have 2 presentations. I must apologize that there is a session on day 2 for today, which was supposed to be session 2. Presentations on CSR implementation in Zambia, mining policies and regulations, presented community land rights, mining community alternative livelihoods, the role of civil society implementation of climate change. Would love these points from these presenters to utilize the breakaway sessions, because so far the panel discussions we've had and the presentations, some of the issues that are in these presentations are being highlighted. So I request that accept our proposal that some of the key issues that are in these presentations are shared during the breakaway sessions that we are going to have in the afternoon. So after the panel discussion that we're going to have now, we will go for lunch, and then when we come back, we will have 2 presentations. There's one from WWF. It's a case study of the APAs and BASI regarding water resource conservation. This will be done by Dr. Machaya Chomba, he's already here. And the other presentation will be made to be a combined presentation, Kalumbila Mining and Kansanshi. They will be making a presentation on what Kalumbila is doing around sustainable mining and corporate social environmental responsibility. So I will go ahead to invite Rodney Katongo, Director Projects at Africa Water Access. And we have another presentation, another panelist from Access for Water. So there's Africa Water Access and then Access for Water. And then I will ask those that will be talking about water to take the first 2 seats because there are just the 2 of them. And then the last 4 seats that will be answering questions regarding the role of youth in natural resource management. That is, we have Clarence Mziamba from ZEHEST, and then we have Tale Chambanenge from Southern Africa Forum, and then we have our lady from Agents for Change Foundation. Yes, they're here. So there'll be direct questions to do with water rights, mining community water rights and innovations. And then there'll be questions directed to our youth. What could be their role in natural resource management? I will go ahead to invite Christine Banda. I will ask Christine Banda to give me the questions for water rights as well as the questions for the youth. Thank you. So maybe as we're waiting for Christine to bring that document for me, I will start with, I'd love the panelists, just in less than 1 minute. We'll start with the water. What does community water rights mean to you? I'll start with Rodney.
Thank you very much. I think basically, as we know, water is life, as we say, but I think that it forms the basis of everything that we actually do. And therefore, everyone has a right to water, and not only water to drink, but water for productive use. And for an institution like ours, who are promoting water for productive use, we have seen that there is a huge gap, and most of the provision and rights to speak about water really surrounds about clean drinking water and sanitation. But I think we must expand this